Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada e estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio, desde New Haven, Connecticut, al mundo.
Muy buenas tardes. Esta es Norma Rodríguez-Reyes en el show que pasa y usted nos está escuchando a través de WNHH 103.5 FM, La Voz Hispana Radio desde Downtown New Haven y streaming a través de Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. This is Norma Rodríguez-Reyes, your host in K-PASA, and you're listening to us via WNHH 103.5 FM, La Voz Hispana Radio from Downtown New Haven and streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And here we have today with us Attorney Martin Looney. He's been a state senator from Connecticut since 1993, and from 2003 to 2014, Looney served as majority leader of the Senate, and in 2015, he became president pro temp of the Senate. Looney represents the eastern half of New Haven and parts of Hamden. He is a part-time professor at the University of New Haven and Quinnipiac University, where he teaches classes on state and local government. Okay. Tenemos con nosotros hoy al abogado Martin Looney. Él ha sido senador estatal de Connecticut desde el 1993 y desde el 2003 hasta el 14 se desempeñó como líder de la mayoría del Senado. En el 2015 se convirtió en presidente pro temp del Senado. Looney representa la mitad este de New Haven y parte de Hamden. También es profesor a tiempo parcial en la Universidad de Quinnipiac y la Universidad de New Haven, donde él da clases de gobierno estatal y local. Gracias, Attorney Martin Looney, Senator Looney, for being here with us today.
Well, thank you so much, Norma. It is wonderful to be with you and your listeners this afternoon.
Okay, so we're going to have the first question that we're going to ask is tell us about your background and experience. Cuéntanos de tu antepasado y tu experiencia.
Oh, certainly. Happy to. I have been in the state legislature since 1981. I was first elected to the House of Representatives in 1980, and then after 6 terms was elected to the state Senate in 1992. And as you mentioned, for the last 20 years, I was majority leader for 12 of those years and have been president pro tem for 8 years. I also, as I said, I practice law. My law partner is Jack Keyes, who is the former probate judge in the city of New Haven. We have been in a law practice together since 1985, about 37 years. So, and then, as you said, I teach in the criminal justice program at the University of New Haven and teach in the political science department at Quinnipiac University and also at Quinnipiac University Law School.
Okay. Bueno, le pregunté que si nos podía contar sobre tu experiencia y tu antepasado, y dice que él ha estado en el Senado desde el 1981, primero como representante estatal y después como senador, y él ha estado practicando 20 años ahí en esa posición. En su vida privada él practica leyes, entonces con su socio que es el juez de bienes y el juez de probate, Judge Keyes, y él ha estado en eso por 37 años. Y él da clase en justicia criminal en la Universidad de New Haven y también en el Departamento de Ciencias Políticas en Quinnipiac University. So, como ustedes ven, él definitivamente tiene mucha experiencia en la legislatura. So, what led you and formed you to where you are today? Like, tell us a defining moment in your life prior to becoming a legislator that you decided this is this is where you wanted to go. Por favor, déjanos saber qué momento definitivo en tu vida decidiste en hacerte el político que eres hoy día.
Oh, I can pinpoint one evening in particular that changed my life, and if the timing had been different, I don't know what path I would have taken. I was in graduate school at the University of Connecticut, working on a PhD in English literature, and was getting ready to go back to stores when the doorbell rang. My mother answered the door, and it was two people who were canvassing. One was a man named Frank Logue, who was then a New Haven alderman running for mayor, and with him was a young woman who was his campaign manager, and that was Rosa DeLauro. And they got me involved in that campaign that year. Became involved in New Haven politics that year, working for the Logue campaign, and I won a primary for alderman that year, but lost the general election. But when Logue won the election, Rosa became his chief of staff. They offered me a position in his administration, and I was there during the 4 years that he was mayor. That was a fork in the road for me. And during that time, I became interested in running for the state legislature if an opportunity occurred, and that opportunity came in 1980.
Bueno, mi vida cambió drásticamente cuando de momento vino un toque en la puerta, y eso definitivamente cambió mi vida, porque yo estaba trabajando en mi doctorado en literatura de inglés en la Universidad de Stores, pero cuando tocó la puerta y abrimos la puerta, ahí estaba Frank Logue, quien estaba corriendo para alcalde de la ciudad de New Haven, y también que luego se convirtió en ser alcalde, y después también con él estaba la quien hoy es congresista del estado de representando a Connecticut en Washington D.C., la congresista Rosa de Laura. Yo también estuve corriendo en ese año. Yo gané la primaria, pero no gané la elección general. Pero como ganó el alcalde Logue, él entonces fui a trabajar en su administración y estuve trabajando ahí por 4 años durante el tiempo que él fue alcalde. Y entonces eso fue lo que me hizo a mí correr para representante estatal. Así que mi vida cambió. En el 1980 yo me envolví en el mundo político. Thank you so much. And I know these folks really well. You know, they're still very instrumental individuals.
Yes.
Okay, so what legislative accomplishment or legislation from this past year sessions are you most proud of? ¿Cuál de las legislaciones que ha pasado en esta sección tú te sientes más orgulloso de haber aprobado?
Well, Norma, I think we had a very successful term in the 2021-2022 sessions since the last election. One of the most important, in 2021, we changed the formula for the payment in lieu of taxes program, the pilot program, to give needier cities like New Haven a bigger share of reimbursement for the property taxes that they don't collect from colleges and hospitals and also from the state itself. And that is going to make a difference of $50 million a year to the city of New Haven. It will double New Haven's payment because it takes need into account in the formula that was not taken in before. That was a major achievement in 2021. And I'll say just stop at that point.
Okay,
right.
then we'll
yes.
go on the next one.
Right.
Okay. Bueno, Fue un año muy exitoso, el 2021 y 2022. Ahora, en 2021 cambiamos la fórmula para pagar pago en vez de impuesto. Okay, la fórmula se cambió y entonces eso es dinero que no pagan los colegios, los hospitales ni el Estado, okay, por propiedades en la cual ellos son dueños, porque como ustedes saben, los hospitales, las universidades, los colegios, el Estado no paga impuestos. So, alguien tiene que pagar esos impuestos. Y ahí fue cuando, por esta fórmula que se llama Payment in lieu of Taxes, pago en vez de impuesto, ellos incrementaron a $50 millones aquí en Connecticut, porque ahora se va basado en la necesidad, no solamente en una fórmula. The next one.
That's great. Thank you. And in 2022, we had a number of significant achievements, one of which was to recognize that children have been suffering during the pandemic, and we applied a lot more state funding toward improving child daycare and also early childhood education programs and preschool programs. That was a significant initiative. In addition to that, we increased the payments that low-income working people can receive under the what is called the tax credit program for earned income, the Earned Income Tax Credit Program. We increased that program for low-income working people so that they get a much bigger percentage of what the tax credit is based upon the federal Earned Income Tax Credit, and we increased the state Earned Income Tax Credit to 41.5% of what the federal tax credit is. So that means that whatever people get from the federal government, they get another grant of 41.5% of that from the state government, on top of that for low-income working people. On top of that, we created a new child tax credit for low-income and middle-income families of $250 per child, up to 3 children, so families could get up to $750 under that program. That was a major achievement of this past session, 2022.
Bueno, una de las cosas que también se siente muy orgulloso es porque para los niños, para las familias que tienen niños, el programa de preescolar y también el programa para empezar los niños en la escuela definitivamente aumentaron el dinero aprobado para eso. Entonces también incrementaron el dinero de impuestos que basado en el impuesto que uno ha ganado. So, si recibe el Estado ahora ha incrementado a 41 punto algo %. Entonces también el otro programa es The Child Tax Credit, que en la cual se le da $250 por niño hasta 3 niños. So, un total de $750 si tiene niño se le da cada año con este programa que dieron. Y lo bueno de este programa es que el ingreso es bastante alto, que muchas de la clase media ahora pueden cualificar, okay, además de los pobres. Well, it seems like you had a pretty busy season doing this.
It was a busy term, yes.
So what would be, once you get reelected, what would be one of the first things that you would like to accomplish in the year 2023 legislation?
Well, one would be to continue increasing state support for public education in the school funding formula, to continue moving forward with that so that it is fully funded. Another would be to expand on something that we also began in 2022, and that is to increase the state reimbursement to municipalities for the costs of special education. That's a very burdensome cost in many cases for municipalities, and we increased the municipal reimbursement for special education and would like to do more of that.
Bueno, lo que yo quisiera hacer en el 2023 es incrementar el apoyo para educación pública, asegurarme que los fondos están completamente ahí. Otra cosa es el dinero de educación especial. Le voy en estos momentos a que me elabore un poquito más en estos fondos especiales, porque yo creo que mucha de nuestra gente cae en estos fondos especiales. Senator, can you elaborate a little bit on the special education program? Because I think a lot of our listeners would definitely want to know more information on that particular one.
Yes, when a child is designated for special education, the town has to spend 4.5 times, 4.5 times its per pupil education expenditure before it gets any reimbursement from the state. And the state reimbursement has only been about 68% of what are called the excess costs above what the town spends. So we increased it somewhat this year. And what I would like to do is to get that for cities like New Haven up to 100% of the excess costs, so that the burden of the town would be limited. Because the problem is that many times a community cannot even budget for an expensive special ed placement, because a family may move into the community over the summer. At the beginning of the school year, they may not have even been in the district in the last year, and now all of a sudden that town has to bear with all of the special education costs that connect to that child, and it can be very expensive, and the state needs to be a stronger partner in assisting in that.
Okay, so what would you say are some of the cases involving special ed?
Often it involves having to get extra teachers for one-on-one teaching for the children. Sometimes it involves placing the children in a residential facility, or transporting them for special programs, all of which is very expensive.
Okay, entonces mira, él lo que está diciendo es que en términos de educación especial, cuando un niño es designado educación especial, la escuela tiene que gastar 4.5 por cada estudiante, ¿okay? En la cual solamente el Estado te devuelve solamente 68%. So, además de la cantidad que la ciudad tiene que gastar en ese estudiante, se tiene que multiplicar eso por 4.5 más por estudiante. Y el Estado solamente le da 68% del dinero que está gastando. Entonces, lo que él quiere hacer es asegurarse que se gaste, que el Estado le devuelva para atrás a la ciudad de New Haven el 100% que se está gastando para este estudiante en educación especial. Por ejemplo, en algunas veces cuando un niño necesita que sea un maestro por ese estudiante, o también si tiene que ir a una facilidad residencial, o si tiene que ser transportado, ¿ok? Esos son los casos en los cuales se está hablando de educación especial. I was trying to figure out if bilingual education falls into special education.
It could, again, depending on the needs of the child, yes.
Oh, okay. So, en términos yo le pregunté que si la educación bilingüe también cae en esta fórmula, y él dijo que puede ser dependiendo en la necesidad del niño, okay. Bueno, is there anything else that you at this time would like to say to our listeners before we end this program?
Yes, a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their support over the years that I have been in the legislature, and hope to have that support again this year. Would like to mention a couple of other pieces of legislation that were in the works for a long time that have now come to fruition, one of which is raising the minimum wage, which as recently as 2019 was only $10.10 an hour in Connecticut. This year it went to $14 an hour. Next year it'll be $15 an hour, and we will then index it to inflation after that. That was a major achievement. Another was the creation of paid family and medical leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Ok, bueno, primeramente quiero darle a ustedes las gracias por apoyarme a través de los años. Pero lo que sí quiero mencionar es que la legislación se incrementó el sueldo mínimo. Desde en el 2019 era $10.10 an hour.
10.10, right? Yes,
Sí,
that's right.
Desde el 2019 era solamente $10.10. Este año es $14 la hora. El año que viene va a ser $15 la hora. Pero y después de eso se va a incrementar dependiendo en el costo de vivienda, en el costo que se cobran, tú sabes, un mínimo, yo no sé cuánto. Usually the cost of living is how much usually per year?
Well, it varies, but it can be, of course, anywhere from 2 or 3% to 6 or 7 in some years.
Bueno, en algunos años el costo de vida puede subir a 2 a 3%. So, él está proponiendo de que después del 2023, cuando suba a $15 la hora, que cada año suba dependiendo en el costo de vida. So, puede ser de 2 a 3% o a veces hasta de 6 a 7%. Todo dependiendo en el costo de vida. Okay?
Right.
And the other point that you were going to mention?
Oh, yes. The other is the creation of the paid family and medical leave program so that people will be able to not have to struggle if they are ill or if a child is ill or they're providing care for a parent. They'll be able to get paid leave from their position, have their position protected, and still have income and not face hardship or possibly financial ruin because of an illness.
Okay. Entonces, otra de que él se siente bastante orgullosa que pudo pasar es que se llama el Paid Family and Medical Leave, que se le paga a la familia para poder estar fuera en términos de médico, en la cual la pareja, ¿ok?, puede por un tiempito salir, cuidar a sus hijos, ¿ok?, y su posición va a estar asegurada y se le va a pagar su sueldo. So their position is going to be secured, but then they're also going to be getting a salary during that time.
They'll be also be paid during that time, yes.
Sí.
Yes.
Up to, how long is it?
It'll be based upon this, just like unemployment is paid, depending, it'll be a percentage of what their regular salary is.
Okay. Entonces se le va a pagar el salario y es muy basado a lo mismo como el desempleo, que es dependiendo en un porcentaje del salario. So, Senator, tell us. Get ready to call you Governor. So, tell us where they can find more information on all of this that we're talking about today. Si nos puede dejar saber dónde las personas que nos están escuchando pueden averiguar más información sobre toda esta legislación y estos programas de la cual él está mencionando hoy.
Well, 2 ways they can call any of their state legislators who would be able to give them information, or the state of Connecticut's website.
Okay. So, lo mejor que pueden hacer si quieren más información, puede llamar a su legislador estatal o también pueden ir al website del estado. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate all this information that you have given us, and we wish you the best. I want to remind everybody out there that on November 8th, we have a general election, and the polls will be open from 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. And since this is a general election, it doesn't matter what party you are affiliated with, you will be able to vote if you are registered to vote. There is still time for you to register to vote, so those that are not registered but are citizens of the United States can do so. Quiero recordarles a ustedes, ¿ok?, que en noviembre 8, desde las 6 de la mañana hasta las 8 de la noche, hay elecciones general. Para todas las personas que están inscritas para votar, no importando el partido en la cual usted pertenece, usted puede salir a votar para los diferentes candidatos que tenemos. Y si no está inscrito para votar y es ciudadano de los Estados Unidos, por favor, todavía hay tiempo, así que deje escuchar su voz a través de su voto. So let your voice be heard by way of your vote. I want to thank you all for listening to us. I want to thank Senator Looney for being here with us and for all the doors that you have always opened for us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bueno, gracias por estar escuchando a Norma Rodríguez-Reyes en el show que pasa a través de WNHH 103.5 FM, La Voz Hispana Radio desde Downtown New Haven y a través de Facebook, YouTube y Twitter. Hasta la próxima. Se despide de ustedes y le deseo mucha salud, dinero y amor y tiempo para disfrutarlo. Gracias. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Senator.
Norma. Thank
Really
you so much.
appreciate you coming and doing this.